Welcome everyone to Barely Friends Podcast. My name's Isaiah, and today it's looking a little different. My co-host today is not Eric, unfortunately. He's out today, undisclosed injury. I'm not 100% sure what the reason is, but that's that. We have my brother back. He's going to be substituting for him as co-host, and we have a very special guest, my friend Spencer Berryman. Welcome, guys. Welcome. How's it going? How's life? It's not like we saw each other, the other day or something. But how's it going for the audience? For the
It's going well, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited to be here. It's been a while. I was told that I couldn't be on the podcast for a long time, so to be back.
Oh no!
Now it's great. I guess they're just spacing me out. But yeah, I mean, Eric's not here, so I got to take over and. We'll look at the stats. We'll look at the data when this video comes out. But the numbers go up, we might have to change some things around here.
Okay.
All right. I'm good.
Some staffing decisions.
Okay.
Have to be made.
All right.
I'm just kidding, Eric. We love you, man.
Yeah.
We wish you were here.
Yeah. We'll see what Eric says afterwards. After this. But Spencer, how you doing? How's things going?
Things are good, man.
Good.
I'm finally here.
Finally here.
What? Almost a year.
Almost a year.
Being gaslighted.
I mean. We're trying. We're trying. This is gonna be great. I feel like this episode is gonna be a lot of me being attacked, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Before we get into content, and we're actually gonna interview both Ty and Spencer because since Ty he has been a guest here before, but he hasn't been officially interviewed. So we want you to know who he is and who they are. So we're gonna do that in a little bit. And for those who are new, welcome. We are usually two friends. Myself and my other co-host who is not here. We talk about sports, talk about NBA, Celtics, and some other things. So we're just, we love to do it, and hope you enjoy being here with us. So let's get to it. First, though, I got an image to show you guys. Ty knows already this image. This is actually on your notes here. It's Spencer, I want to ask you what. What do you think this is? He gave me this as a gift. It's like kind of code. Ty gave it to me as a gift. What do you think this? What do you think this is? I'm going to show everyone at home here right now. What do you think it since we're a sports podcast, that's the only hint. Since we're a sports podcast, what do you think we're dealing with here?
I just see two emojis on a folded piece of paper, but judging.
Well, I don't see what's so funny.
From how well I know you both, I assume this is some kind of subtle jab at you.
Okay. So he thinks it's an actual jab. Ty, what is it actually? What is this actually showing?
So the two emojis represent two teams from the WNBA specifically. So the first one is the Indiana Fever. And the bottom one is the Connecticut Sun. So you can finish the gift there.
So as a result, Ty, for this Christmas, bought me tickets to see a Connecticut Sun versus Indiana Fever game at TD Garden. Nice. So that was a huge surprise. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun. That was awesome to see that. So that was. I'm thankful, very thankful for that. And so I just want to show that. Happy holidays to everyone out there as well. Let's get started with the interview. Just a few questions here for both of you. As again, you haven't been interviewed yet on the podcast or haven't even been on the podcast. I apologize. Let's start with just Spencer, with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Job and anything else you want to share?
Oh, sure. So I was born by a river in a little tent.
Okay.
No, I'm from New Bedford. Grew up here. Recently moved, and I'm now living in North Providence. I work at Citizens Bank on like the corporate side doing social media. So drop me a nice message. Tell me how much you love Citizens Bank.
Yep.
Get yourself a debit card. I got you. But no, big sports guy. I've known these two guys for like 20 plus years now, since we were little kids. We're not that old.
Yeah.
And happy to be here.
Yeah, great. We're actually having some technical difficulties.
Oh no! Oh my
gosh.
You gotta keep this on. Man. You gotta keep this in the podcast.
It's the blooper reel.
Okay. We are.
Oh man.
We're gonna be
I'm leaving.
right back. Stay tuned. Don't stay with us, guys. Apologies. Baby. We are back. Apologies for those technical difficulties. That was the time. All right, let's resume. Where we left off. Spencer, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So, yeah, I'm from New Bedford. Grew up with these guys, going to school together, playing basketball, soccer, baseball, what have you. I work at Citizens now, that I graduated from school. So I'm up in Rhode Island doing social media marketing for them. So feel free, send me a nice message. I get a lot of hate.
There we go.
Oh no.
Great. Thank you, Spencer. And Ty, how are you?
Yeah, so I'm currently working as an educational advisor. I work for a nonprofit. That's been a great time so far. I'm also part-time at a church in Rhode Island. So we're both kind of living the Providence life. But yeah, things have been good. Great to be in New Bedford. Just hanging out with folks like you guys, and excited to talk sports. So
Great, awesome. Thanks, guys. This question I'm really looking forward to. What is the best memory you have that involves me? Spencer, we start with you.
Sure. So yeah, I was thinking about this question because there are very numerous amounts of memories
Fair.
come to mind, but one that is I think especially relevant since you're here too, Ty, is one time as children, I don't know how old we were, maybe like 8 or 9, something like that. We all went on a trip, like our families, we all went on a trip to Vermont together. And on the way there, we happened to stop at this restaurant that was located on a hill that was kind of coming off of a freeway sort of situation. And I'm not sure which one of you did it, but one of them opened up their mom's trunk, and a basketball goes rolling down this hill towards this like fairly busy freeway. And we all kind of just watch it go, and a car hits it, and that thing got launched. It must have been like hundreds of feet down the road, and their mom went down the hill and went and retrieved it. Don't know how she found it.
Still salvaged.
Salvaged it.
Not anymore, but it was.
They used it for years to come.
Yeah, that was a time. I believe you did open the door, Ty. I believe it was you. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but anyway,
you have no evidence of that.
I don't. But that's just
you're just making it up.
I think we have eyewitnesses though. Anyway, Ty, what's your favorite memory of me? Yeah, big brother.
So besides what just happened like 5 minutes ago, because that was like hilarious.
Yeah.
Not in the not recent past, we went over to Spencer's house again. So Isaiah and I are brothers. Spencer is like a brother to us. Very close family friend. So we have spent tons of time together. But we went over his house. Was it last year it was Christmas or maybe we just went over to hang out. I don't even remember what it was. But Isaiah had recently been an extra in a movie. Hocus Pocus 2. Apparently.
Yeah, it was true.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
It was true.
Apparently he was out like all night for like multiple days at a time, like just didn't come back. But he was filming for this movie, apparently. So we're like watching. We're not really watching the movie. We're just like combing through to see the parts that like Isaiah's in, like as an extra, because he's like sold on the fact that you could see him in the movie, So we're like watching all these clips of like all these people in the background, and he's like, guys, I swear to you, like I'm right there, and like you never see his face. All you see is like the back of his head, or supposedly the back of his head.
Maybe a prop he was holding.
Yeah, he tells you the costume that he tells you the costume that he's supposedly wearing, but like all he's doing is describing what the person that he's seeing wears. So like you actually have no evidence that like it's actually him, but he is like beyond compelled to believe that that's actually him. So he's like, arguing with us, saying, "This is us. This is me. This is me. I swear to you, this is me." And we're all just like, "Dude, we have no idea if that's actually you."
Yeah,
So, it was so funny.
Yeah, there is no video evidence really. I mean, there were some takes that if they were in the movie, you would have clearly seen me. Okay, they just didn't put him for some reason. Probably not me, but for whatever reason. But I definitely have pay stubs. I definitely have receipts somewhere from them Disney paying me. Okay, somewhere along those lines. So. But I'll have to get those out and will. But no, that's good. That was a fun time. That Hocus Pocus 2 was a fun time for me. I really enjoyed it. So thanks for bringing that up. All right, next question, Spencer, for you. How far? Now we're going into our bread and butter here, Barely Friends podcast, Celtics sports talk. How far do you think the Celtics will go this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll go deep. I mean, I don't want to jinx them and say they're gonna go back to back, but I think they'll make a pretty deep run. They have a lot of depth, a lot of playoff experience now at this point. I mean, really with just Tatum alone. I mean, he's been in the playoffs. I mean, almost every year he's been in the NBA. So, I think they'll be fine.
Okay, all right, cool. Love that answer, Ty.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't have any reason to believe. I know that they just kind of came off a loss this Christmas to Philly, and Philly has not been very good. They've had that whole Joel Embiid situation, but I don't really see a team in the East that could compete with us for 7 games. I think it's easy to like look in a vacuum and say like, oh, they lost to Orlando or they lost to Philly, who's been playing awfully. But the playoffs is just a totally different game. You gotta most likely we're gonna be top 3 seed, so we're gonna play a lot of home games. So yeah, a lot of teams. It's gonna be very hard for teams to beat the Celtics 4 times in a 7-game series. So, I mean, I feel confident about where we are. I know Porzingis, I believe, got kind of banged up.
Yeah.
Which is tough, but he was banged up last year and he came back at the right time and helped us when we needed it. So I think we'll be good.
Good. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the Celtics and that Porzingis injury a little later in the show. But yeah, I agree. I mean, they've had losses like this last year, where their opponent was just not to their level, and they would lose, and they would not play defense or not give effort. So, and they won it last year. So I'm not too concerned if more losses happen. That could change my mind, but we'll see. We'll get there when we get there. And one more question for you guys. Spencer, who is your current favorite Celtic star and why?
On the current roster?
Current roster.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's probably Jason Tatum.
Okay.
I guess I like what he's doing. I feel like he gets better every year. And I feel like he kind of has shades of like Tracy McGrady, Kevin Durant a little bit, and the kind of way he plays. So, yeah, he's probably my favorite to watch.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's been he plays MVP-esque. The problem is he just has like literally not figuratively, literally an all-star team around him. So it's kind of hard to put him where it's like he has so many pieces around him. The MVP it kind of tarnishes him from getting it, but he's playing MVP like this year for sure. Ty?
Yeah, I would say Porzingis. I love the bigs shooting threes. I mean, when he came out as a rookie, he was like a phenom. He was like Wemby before Wemby.
That's true.
Just like a 7'3", like power forward who can push the ball down the court, pull up, shoot threes, just like dominate. So
yeah,
it's fun to watch him play, especially alongside guys who like Tatum and Brown who can really penetrate, and then Porzingis kind of like gets those kick out threes, and can also just grab boards, can handle, push the ball down the court, like I said. So he's really fun to watch, and I think it's crazy that other teams in the league like didn't get the opportunity or didn't take up the opportunity to get Porzingis.
Yep.
Because I think he is such a threat when he's healthy. But the fact that we got him is great for our team. So.
Yeah, I agree. Call him unicorn, Tingus Pingus, all that stuff. He's been great. Injuries, right, is the thing, but we risked it and we got a chip out of it. So I mean, it's been great. I'll answer that question. Since I guess I'm interviewing myself as well. I go between Derek White and Drew Holiday. And I give the edge to Derek White just because I didn't expect him to emerge as this elite defender, as he's been now, and it's fun to watch him. I mean, he's just so confident now. He's perfect with Joe Mazzulla because he if he feels confident, he's gonna shoot the threes a ton, and for the most part, he's gonna make them. So he's been great. Both of them though have been awesome. They're like a dynamic duo in terms of guards. They've been fun to watch. So yeah, so thank you guys for answering those questions. That's going to be our interview section. We would take a break right now, quick intermission. However, we kind of took a break in the beginning to get things going. So we're just going to jump into our breaking news segment here. So we're going to go through a few things here. This is kind of old news. This happened a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago with this news, and it's not even basketball related. But we got to bring it up because it's pretty huge. Bill Belichick going to North Carolina football in college. I don't really think anyone expected it to happen. He's, in my eyes, as a Patriots fan, no bias, the greatest coach of all time. And people expect him to go back in the NFL, but I think what's happened is no one really wants him back in the NFL, and I think that's due to his power dynamic as a GM and wanting a good amount of the power in a team. So, guys, it can be either one of you. Any thoughts on Bill Belichick? I know, Ty, you absolutely love Bill Belichick. You've told me several times.
I think as a personality, Bill Belichick's great. I mean, it's great to see him on like the Pat McAfee show and on ESPN with the Manning brothers, just like dissecting plays and players and all that kind of stuff. It was cool to see him in that space because like when he was on the Patriots, you never saw that kind of personality out of him. So that was fun to kind of catch that. But yeah, definitely a weird turn. I think Bill just loves to coach. And if he wasn't going to coach in the NFL because nobody wanted him, he's going to go to college and coach there. So I mean, he's going to have all the power in the world, all the control over recruiting and stuff like that. We'll see if he actually is able to recruit guys in college because we've never seen him do that before. So yeah, it's definitely weird. It'll be weird not to see Bill Belichick in a Patriots uniform or any NFL uniform for that matter. Well, not a uniform, I guess, but yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with North Carolina and the ACC next year, just with the expanded football playoff, college football playoff. So many different teams that got in, and if you win your conference, you automatically get in. So there's just a lot that can happen. So we'll see if Bill can have instant success. And I know he's kind of getting, I don't know if he's getting too many comparisons, but it's kind of like, when Dion, a big NFL guy, goes to college and kind of starts his own program. And they're doing great this year. So yeah, we'll just see what happens with Bill, but glad he's not in the NFL. I don't like him as a Patriots coach. So get him out of here.
Yeah.
Actually, I did want him on the Giants, but that's not an option.
Disgusting.
Yeah. Spencer, any thoughts on Bill?
I mean, I don't really know too much about the college football world or UNC's football program, but
Yep.
I mean, I have to imagine it's a big win for them to get somebody with that kind of experience who's won at the highest level, 6 times. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a lot more competition in the world of college football than there is in the NFL. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of success he has, what he's able to do, and if this is going to be a long-term thing for him. 'Cause he's no spring chicken.
He's no spring chicken. No, he's no spring chicken. Bill has been around the block in the NFL, and North Carolina as a football program is not the biggest, so that's a little interesting. I mean, he's gonna have now everyone's gonna have eyes on North Carolina this upcoming season because Bill is such a big name. But there's with this new playoff college football format, it's gonna be interesting to see if North Carolina climbs. I think it's like a 5-year deal, so no one's really expecting, I think, the first year to them to rise up. But I don't know really, like the ACC with Clemson, right? I think that's maybe Florida State, but I think that may even be in the past. I don't know how good they were this year, but it'll be interesting. We'll see how Bill does, but he'll be fine. I mean, ultimately, he'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think one more thing to add to that too. We've seen a lot of coaches try to make the transition from college football to the NFL. Nick Saban did it a while ago. Jimmy Johnson did it. He's one of the only ones to do it successfully. Jim Harbaugh is like the rarest one. He's gone back and forth a couple of times. Obviously won a national championship at Michigan and then comes back to the NFL, and the Chargers look like a real Super Bowl contender. We don't see many coaches, though, especially of Bill's pedigree, go from the NFL, especially with 6 championships, to go the college route. So
Yeah.
I think in general, especially for Bill, but in general, it's something that like football people have never seen before. So it'll be interesting.
For sure. Absolutely. All right. Moving forward now, still breaking news, but been to basketball now. This just in. This happened last night, I believe. Luka Doncic is out at least a month with a calf injury. Now, I may have misheard, Ty. You're going to have to fact check me after this. But I believe the Mavs have been pretty good without him. They've been over 500. I don't want to say the record. I think I have a number, but it may be incorrect, so I don't want to say the actual number. But Luka has been. I mean, he's been phenomenal this year as usual. I mean, there's no chance. So I mean, you don't, even though they've been good without him, you don't want your star guy like that to be out. So that's big, and we'll see how much that affects the Mavericks moving forward. The other news, big news into the NBA recently, is there going to be a new All-Star format? Did you guys hear about that? New All-Star format?
No.
All right.
I did hear about the new format, but I know there's going to be a new format, but I don't know much about what
Okay.
like.
Well, I'm going to try to break it down for you guys and for the viewers at home, okay, if you don't know. So this new format, it's going to be tournament style, okay? So we're going to have 4 teams. 3 teams are going to be composed of all-star selections from fans, from coaches, from players, right? There's going to be, I think there's going to be 8 players per team. So that's 24 players. So there's going to be, those collection of players are going to be picked by Kenny, the Jet Smith, Shaq, and Chuck. So
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley.
Just
yes.
to clarify.
Charles.
Is Charles. Sorry. Those are going to be
a rebound.
Yes. Those are going to be those 3 teams, and then the 4th team is going to be picked by the Rising Star game. That usually happens between I don't know what the Rising Stars consist of. I know obviously rookies. I don't know if it goes up to 3rd year, but definitely 1st and 2nd year. So those will be the 4 teams. Then there's going to be a prize pool of $1.8 million. A lot of money there. That's a lot of money. But it gets divvied out. So first place, each player would get $125,000. Second place, each team or each player would get $50,000. And then 3rd and 4th place teams would get $25,000 each. So, I was talking with someone. Oh, actually, I meant to give a shout out earlier. To the con man, Michael Consasio. I was on his show on the Sports Wave Network. Just want to give him a quick shout out. But I was talking to him about just this new format. And, Adam Silver is doing a lot to try to get this back into entertaining or just a watchable event. And it's tough. He's trying. Give him credit. But my guy, Stephen A. Smith, this is all from ESPN, by the way. My man, Stephen A. Smith, he mentioned about this new format. He said, all you have to do is go out there and play with effort and not have it be a glorified layup line. So, effort's the main thing. Effort, I think, is what fans want. And I just don't know how you get it. So any thoughts on, how they could get effort or this new format just in general?
I mean, my sort of immediate reaction is like, I mean, $125,000 is a lot of money, but for the people who are on these teams, like if they're all-stars, like I don't know that that's going to really matter that much to them.
Sure.
For people who are on that Rising Stars team, like sure, but for somebody like a LeBron James, a Kevin Durant, like they don't care about that kind of money.
Right.
So I don't know if that's really going to move the needle, but I like that they're trying new things, though. I think that's cool.
For sure.
Yeah, I think the problem is not the format. I think it's the nature of the game and the way players are playing now. You look at like all-star games and just the nature of the NBA like 20 years ago when like, you know, LeBron and Kobe and guys like that were coming up. Like when they were, you know, playing an all-star, like they wanted to win. Like they just wanted to be better than everybody else. And now it kind of seems like people have become more, you know, and I think it helps the game because people are becoming more like injury conscious. And so we want to like make sure players are not getting hurt or like overworked or things like that. But I think the competition piece, like the pure drive to just be better than everybody else, I don't think you see a lot of that as much in the NBA now. So these kind of all-star games, like where they would be taken super seriously like 20 years ago, for the competition piece, like now it's more about how can I stay healthy, how can I get my next contract, how can I make sure like our team makes a deep run, even if that means not playing, you know, some would say meaningful games in the regular season. Players are willing to sacrifice those games to make sure that they're ready for the playoffs. And most of the time, you know, you look at guys like Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. A lot of times it doesn't pay off. It's a big risk, and sometimes you don't get that reward. So, all that to say, I think the nature of the game, the nature of players today in the NBA, I think for better and worse, I think there's pros and cons, but I think it's just different, and it makes the All-Star game a little bit more diminished, which is unfortunate. But yeah, who knows? Maybe there'll be a next generation of NBA players that kind of resurrects that competitive spirit and will take away these prize pools and just kind of get back to the real grit of just like competition and being better than the next guy.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely something lost with these players compared to past players in terms of competitiveness, I guess. Hopefully something can unlock that moving forward. I would just say about the money, Spencer, that you were saying. I think it'd be cool if they just had it where, you know, teams would win a pool of money, but it would just go to an organization and maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
That I feel like that's happened before. I don't know in what format. But I think, you know, that could bring some motivation to wanting to win if you give to like these players organizations that, you know, they care about and want, you know, and so there's something that can do. But again, I give credit to Adam Silver in the sense of he's trying to figure out ways. But I think, and Stephen A was kind of talking about this too. Like the players have to say something. Like Kevin Durant said that he's not a huge fan of this format, but like it's kind of too little, too late. Like this already has passed, and like now you're saying it after the fact. Like you probably had to say before. So
yeah.
There's that. So you know, still tune into the All-Star games. Still tune in. They got a lot of fun things, but it's different. So, and the last bit of breaking news I have here, and this is a little old news as well, but we're making the best of it. The Bucks have won the NBA Cup. So congrats to the Milwaukee Bucks for whatever that's worth. If my co-host Eric were here, he would consider that a half a ring for the Bucks. He's mentioned that before, that the NBA Cup should be not I don't think a ring level, but it should have some significance. I don't agree. I don't necessarily agree that it should have that weight. But in terms of the Bucks this season, because they've kind of been a mid-level team, they haven't been to where they probably should be. Does this do anything for Giannis, for Doc Rivers, for that whole team as a whole winning this?
I don't think so. I mean, who won it last year? The Lakers, right?
Yeah, Lakers, yeah.
And I don't remember how far they got in the playoffs, but I know they didn't make it to the finals. They didn't make it to the conference finals. So, sure, it's great, but I think, you know, and again, they get that extra money in their pocket, but I think it's all about the playoffs, man. If you don't make it to where you want to be in the playoffs, like all these other things, you know, I think they're just kind of complimentary, and at the end of the day, nobody's going to care unless you win a chip, right? So, yeah, I wouldn't consider it half a ring. I guess it's a cool tournament, you know, and when you win anything, you know, you want to be proud of what you've done, and so I don't blame the Bucks or anybody who, you know, supports the Bucks for like, you know, celebrating the win, because I think it is something. I just don't think it's that big a deal.
Yeah. Spencer, any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I mean, I think, I mean, if it does anything for them, it boosts the team's, morale. Maybe relationships get better. They have a little more confidence. But
Yeah.
kind of like what Ty was saying, like, does it really matter that much in the long run? Not really.
Right. I agree. This NBA Cup, I'm still trying to get used to it. Still trying to. I'm not there yet with some people in terms of enjoying it or thinking it's better for the game. I'm not there yet. So maybe take some more time, but we'll see with the NBA Cup. All right, we are gonna move forward now into our NBA season in the regular season. We start with the Celtics. Again, we mentioned that Porzingis got hurt on Christmas Day. He suffered an sprained ankle, so it's not serious. I think he's questionable for his next game. But you always, when it's with Porzingis, you're always concerned if he goes down. It could be more time. You just hope that he's healthy for the playoffs. So you always take anything, even it's minor, pretty seriously. So hopefully it's, just a sprained ankle like they're saying. I got that from Sports Illustrated. Hopefully that's fine, but I don't think it's going to be too crazy. Although we have had a couple losses, like you mentioned earlier, Ty, the 76ers on Christmas Day. But even before that, we played against the Chicago Bulls, who we lost to. We beat them the next day, but nonetheless, we still lost them. We lost to Orlando Magic, who is starting to creep up and is a little formidable, but they didn't have Paulo Banchero. They didn't have their best star player. We didn't have Tatum, but nonetheless, I'm not the expert in every single player on every single team, but I didn't know half the players. Like I didn't know who was on the Magic playing the Celtics. So, is that concerning? The multiple losses? Does that bring concern for the rest of the season? Is there any concern on that?
I don't think so. I think the season is so long that, I mean, personally, I'm not even too keen on watching games right now, just because, like, the season is so long. Like, unless there's like a big injury, like, of course, Porzingis got a little banged up, but we've seen that before. We've seen him come back. So, I'm not too worried about it. I think when you play 82 games, you're gonna lose games. There's like one team in history, like the 73-9 Warriors. And they didn't even win the chip, right? I believe.
No.
That year. So
Braun took it.
It's like the regular season only means so much, And same kind of conversation with the NBA Cup, I think. So just gotta wait till the playoffs, man.
Yeah. Good point. Any concern?
No, I mean they'll be fine. I feel like they do this all the time, and they have a kind of like a little bit of a bad habit to like losing to teams that they should blow out.
Yeah.
But no, I mean they're still second in the East. Like Tatum's, I think like fourth in terms of like his scoring right now, third or fourth or something like that. So yeah, they'll get it together.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not too concerned. Now, if they continue to lose, then I'm not hitting the panic button, but I'm looking at it and I'm a little concerned. Especially if there's some pattern. Like there was one game, I forget which of these three, but it was like lack of defense, and that's just not acceptable with this team. Like they don't need to go playoff effort to beat these teams, and they just for some reason they just lay down. So, but I think they'll be okay. And we gotta trust Joe Mazzulla, right? We gotta trust Joe Mazzulla. I know last year I was big. I was hard on him. I was harsh. But Joe Mazzulla has been he's been very solid. I mean, he won a chip with us. I mean, he's been good, and he's kept this team together. He did have an interesting quote though I want to share about the 3-point shot and high scoring. This comes from, again, Sports Illustrated. He says, it's an interesting perspective because in the NFL, people aren't like, I want to see less scoring. I guess my question would be, why in basketball is scoring up and scoring more being an issue as opposed to other sports? I would say, Joe, I hope you're listening, Joe. If I would say, because with basketball, on each possession, you're practically scoring, right? You're scoring on a high percentage. With other sports, football, baseball, soccer, hockey, like every possession you have a less likely chance of scoring. It's just, that's just the comparatively, that's just how it is. So when it comes to basketball, I think particularly like, at least for me, like the 3-point shot is where, it gets a little dicey. And I know the Celtics team, like, it's fun to watch. I mean, they're jacking up threes and they're making them all of them, and they're one of the best teams to do that. But again, I was talking to the con man yesterday about this, and it's just, I feel like we're losing a little bit of like overall style of these players that can do it all. Like Tatum, Brown, for instance, like they can drive, they can hit jump shots, they can do it all. But like the increase of 3-point shots that they can also do, I feel like is messing with the game a little bit, and the entertaining factor. I don't know. I feel like it loses it a little bit. So, any thoughts on Joe Mazzulla's quote? And is scoring too much a problem, specifically in the NBA?
I don't really think it's that scoring too much is a problem. I think people are probably just more upset at seeing how the NBA has changed from like the 90s and like 2000s, where it was more of like a post game, slashing, dunking, much more physical, versus now where like every position is shooting threes, and you just have the kind of the drive, kick, shoot, that kind of thing. So I think people are just a little bit having a hard time coping with that in some ways. But no, I don't really think the scoring itself is the issue. It's just really how the ball goes in that people don't like.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking on, I don't know if it was like Instagram or Facebook or whatever, but watching highlights of the Hawks Bulls game. I think it was yesterday, and the Hawks scored 50 points in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
They went on like a 34-9 run, with 7 minutes left in the game. Like, I don't know. I think Spencer, part of it, I agree, is like people just aren't used to that level of scoring. I do think like there's elements of the game though that like, like in football, for instance, right? Like not everybody is a receiver. Like you have one position. You're either a quarterback, you're a running back, you're a wide receiver, you're a lineman, right? So you have one job. And that kind of creates that team dynamic, that team element. Where now I feel like with the way that the NBA is going, with everybody kind of being positionless, it just kind of it doesn't really like mesh as well. There's not a guy who's like not scoring, but he's just grabbing boards. And there's not a guy who's like, shooting the mid-range shot. And there's not like the point guard kind of controlling. So I think all those kinds of elements of the game that like you kind of know people for. Like you knew Chris Paul by the way he would like direct the game, But I think now players are growing up in an era where it's just like, I got to make threes, I got to score points. It doesn't matter like how big or small I am. Like, it doesn't matter really what else I can do. So I think, and I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but it's like less significant than like scoring and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's just parts of the game that are like slowly fading away. And so, yeah, I think it makes sense that people are feeling that way. And yeah, I mean, I don't have any inclination that that's going to change at all at any point. So I think it's something that, I think it would be cool to see, games that kind of become more defensive, more low scoring, kind of bring back that mentality of like the early 2000s, 90s, 80s basketball kind of thing. But it's one of those things where it's just like, it's not how it is. And we can't just, can't rewind time. So we gotta worry about what it looks like now. And yeah, just enjoy it for what it is,
For sure. And I mean, I'm enjoying players who can do it all, like Wembanyama and Nikola Jokic. I mean, you watch those guys bring up the ball, and it's just, it's unreal. Especially we watched Wembanyama a little bit on Christmas Day. He scored 42, 41, something like that. And he was lighting up from threes. He was like, hitting it beyond the three. And, people were just throwing up to him, and it was just, literally no one can do anything if you lob it up to him unless you foul him, like, unless you hack him and don't. But like any defensive play, if you lob it up to him, there's no one you can defend against him. So it's fun. But I think there are some things that, How do we make it competitive? How do we make effort like more of a thing? Bringing back some old school things, meshing it both together. How can we do that? So it's tough. Adam Silver's trying to do it, but it's tough. Last thing real quickly, I want to get into, there have been some trade rumor talks amongst the NBA. We got Jimmy Butler, who Pat Riley said in ESPN that he wants to keep Butler, but still up there. Zion Williamson, Zach LaVine, among others, De'Aaron Fox. So there's been players up there that have been in talks. The trade deadline, I think, is sometime in February. So very interesting. I don't know if there's any players that you would like to see traded or that's most likely traded, but it's coming out. I think there's gonna be big names moving forward. Yeah. So but there's that. So we're gonna transition again.
I'll just say, I would like to see Jimmy Butler out of the East.
Oh, okay.
Just as a Celtics fan and like the fits he gives us whenever Miami's in the playoffs, like if he decides to go west, I'm not going to complain. So,
yeah. I mean, yeah, Jimmy now is like, is he still a starting? Like, are you still going to start him? I don't know if he's that level if you're looking for a team. He probably is to some.
On a championship contending team, I don't know if he starts.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's up. I mean, he's winning 6-man, right? I mean, that's easy. Like he's winning it, but he's not going to be your star now anymore, or like your all-star.
I don't think he won't. I don't think he'll come off the bench. Like I think he wants to start.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure he'll want to. I don't think he'll want to sit. Yeah. That's a good point.
I don't think he's the guy who would be like, okay, like whatever the team. I feel like he's got that mentality. Like I have to be the starter.
Yeah, for sure.
I have to be the guy. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, I hear that. Jimmy's has a different mentality. He's awesome, but not when it comes to Celtics. We're gonna transition. Fantasy football. Let me just show y'all something. Okay, we are in the championship phase. Let's see who's in the championship. All right, let's see who made it to the final two.
The champion will be crowned in New England's very own Fantasy Football League on New Year's Eve. We have a rematch between Joseph's Marvel Cinematic Universe and my dad Spence's team. Joseph reigned last year. We will repeat again. Will my dad take back the crown for the Spencer regime? It's time.
Okay, so there we go. We got my friend Joseph, who was champion last year against our dad. Rematch last year. I will say, because I've said this to some folks who have been in our fantasy league, I could have been in the championship league. I made a big mistake. If you know Mike Evans, he's a fantasy football machine, and I put him on my bench, and that cost me that game. And then if I did the math and if I had won, I would have played a certain opponent. I would have beat that certain opponent because I would have scored more points last week. So technically, I would have been in the championship against my dad. And so my hope is that my dad scores. He doesn't have to win. He doesn't have to win necessarily. He doesn't score more points than me so that it doesn't even bother me. It doesn't even bother me because it's still bothering me.
When you get so far in the weeds, when you're like, oh, if this and this happened, and then when you're like, think of the hypotheticals, it's just, you got to just chill, man. You lost in the first round of the playoffs to me. So that was like winning the championship. I didn't even I lost last week. It's totally fine with me because I beat you. But like, it actually means a lot more to me that I beat you because of how seriously you took it. So like, I think just for your sake and your sanity, just like drop it, man. There's always next year.
I can't. I just can't right now. The thing is, I understand with fantasy, you can think about all the little ways, right? I mean, I can go back to the regular season. I can think about how did I lose with scoring the most points in the league, right? I can go all the way back to that, right? But I'm not. I'm just saying that one instance in the playoffs, how does anyone do what I do? If you know fantasy football.
I've been saying that for a long time.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right, good.
That's
good.
true. Yes.
Whatever. All right. Okay, let's move on. All right, so they're in the championship. Congrats. It was a fun league. Honestly, it was a really good time. So we'll see what happens moving forward. We're gonna quickly dive into our What in the World segment. I'm just gonna share this because this was kind of wild to me. Last Thursday, the Warriors played the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies had been on the rise. Like I think they're a top 3-4 seed in the West, so they've been doing really good. Ja Morant is coming back, and he's been the superstar that he's always been, to be honest. The Warriors lost by 51. And I know we have viewers from San Francisco. We have some viewers in that area. I do apologize, but that was a wallop. I mean, that is bad. Okay, 51 points. First time in history. Okay, first time in history. Steph Curry, Draymond Green didn't hit a field goal. Did not hit one field goal. They had points, but it was just from free throws.
Yeah.
So that's wild to me as well. So just want to say that is one in the world. That is pretty wild. You wouldn't expect that at all. The Warriors have been coming down like at the beginning of the year. They beat the Celtics and they were, a top 3 seed. Now they're around 500, like 15-14. They're doing okay. They're still there, but I don't think they're gonna be championship level. Again, sorry for those viewers in San Francisco. It's just the truth. So, all right, we're gonna end this episode with some New Year's Eve resolutions for our mailbag segment. We're gonna just go around and share what our New Year's resolutions are, since in 4 days it's gonna be the new year, 2025. So, you know what? We're gonna go this way. Ty, I'll start with you. What is your, or maybe you have multiple? What are your New Year's resolutions?
I would say one of my New Year's resolutions is to start making some quality beats.
Oh,
I just got like an iPad Pro for Christmas, which I'm super stoked about.
Yeah.
And one of my good buddies in college had a really cool setup with GarageBand and was able to. He had some equipment and we kind of recorded some songs, some beats and stuff. That was really cool. So I basically just bought everything that he had. The only thing I didn't have was like a Mac or an iPad. So I've got that now. And yeah, I love music. I love making music and hearing new sounds and things like that. So I want to spend some quality time this year just working on some things, learning how to make some beats and produce. And
yeah.
So we'll see what comes of it. I don't think anything crazy will happen, but it'll be a fun kind of hobby to do. So
awesome. That's a great answer. Utilize that iPad, man. Utilize it. Spencer, what about you?
Yeah, I'm not really the biggest like New Year's resolution type, but no, I would probably say for me, I just want to eat like more fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's good. Hey, you know what? Nice more people need to do that for the New Year's resolutions, okay? And take it seriously.
Get your fruits and veggies organic though.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go healthy, you gotta go all the way.
Yeah. Talk to this guy about legit, like about health. I mean, he tells me all
I'm not that.
eat protein and all the.
I'm kind of forced to be because of allergies and stuff, but I try my best to eat healthy.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not. I don't really usually like take New Year's resolutions that seriously either. I did just get a new job. I'm starting to work for a company.
Where's the applause?
Oh yeah. There it is. Sorry. Yeah. There it is. Thank you. I'm starting January 6th, new year. So it's just gonna be new schedule as a whole and just trying to figure that out. So I mean, there's probably no new resolution there. It's just what I'm doing. But eating, exercising, I think more routinely. Stretching for me, big time, routinely, because I hate stretching. I really do.
Are you talking like yoga type things, or just like
yoga's tough. Yoga might be the hardest physical activity for me to do. Okay, that might be the hardest thing.
That's a hot take.
What do you mean? No, hottest take. I'm not saying in general. I'm saying for me, that's tough. Like I'm not gonna do ninja warrior. Like that's obviously tougher than yoga, but I'm not gonna like. I think yoga, that's something that's practical. Like see what happens. See, Eric, I need you, man.
No, man.
If Eric, you were here, you probably would have unbalanced me even more. It would have been.
You should just set the goal to become a ninja
master,
American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah. Become an American Ninja Warrior.
That is not going to be my New Year's resolution whatsoever. But yeah, stretching more. Anyway, that's going to do it for the Barely Friends podcast. My name's Isaiah. This is Ty. This is Spencer. Thank you, guys. This is going to be the last episode for the year. Have a happy new year. We'll see you next year. Peace out.
Peace.
Later.
If you ever take me off the shelf, your eyes like the color of the ocean. Why don't you let me in? Why don't you let me in, baby? Why don't you let me in, baby?